Greetings to those who needed a break from life and have taken the time to let me hold your ear hostage for a short period of time. Welcome to Groove with Portia, the extended QuaranTOLD edition. I'm your host, Portia Booker, and yes, this is my real name. Groove with Portia targets those who are curious, eager, and hungry for new information that can aid in their personal and professional development. Someone once told me, if you want to know something, ask. The answer is always no until you do. So what do? I ask and I bring back the answers in the form of an expert. So before I dive into my topic for today, which I'm really excited about this one, like I always am, I want to introduce my guests. Welcome, Miss Barbara Clarke Ruiz. Welcome, Miss Barbara.
Hey, Portia, how are you? It's nice to be here.
I know, right? Out of your, busy day, I'm sure that you got a lot of stuff going for you. And I always appreciate when people take time out to talk with me. So thank you.
Thank you.
So just give our listeners a little treat, no pun intended. Miss Barbara used to be the design director for tennis superstar Venus Williams. She now has a different career, and I'm excited to learn about this Pawfect business she launched. So, Barbara, let's dive in. I mean, I'm really excited. So, September is home to Pet Sitter Education Month. Pet Sitters International created Pet Sitter Educational Month in September of 2016 to shine a spotlight on professional pet sitters committed to continuing education and on the growing number of educational resources available to today's professional pet sitters and dog walkers. As a professional pet sitter or dog walker, you should have a year-round commitment to continuing education. Staying up to date on the best business and pet care practices makes you more qualified, confident pet care professional, and shows your commitment to providing the best care to your clients. So, Barbara, have you ever been a pet sitter?
I have never been a pet sitter, but I have been a pet owner since I was at least 8 or 9 years old. So, I mean, there's been certain points in my life that, we didn't have a dog. When we lived in Europe, we didn't have a dog. But shortly thereafter, returning to the States, my husband gifted me with a Labrador. And so we've been pet owners ever since, but I've never been a sitter.
And how old is your lab?
So my lab passed away because that's been, maybe 15 years ago. And I since got and that was it was horrible. He had hip dysplasia and couldn't walk. Then we got a Yorkie, which I love Yorkies. So I got Pepper. Pepper lived to be about 14 years old, and she passed away. And when we got Pepper, we also, 7 years later, we got her brother, who is Chili, and Chili is still with us. And he's the grunt of the group. So people, some people say, oh, it's a teacup. He's just a little guy. He's a pound. And he's so sweet, and he's 13 and a half. So he's got, he can't see very well, and he doesn't hear very well. But he's such a sweet little guy, so he runs the house.
He's still your baby, no matter what.
He's really my daughter's dog, but, we just love him,
Aw. So I have had the experience of being a pet sitter before I even got my own dog. So shout out to my good friend Eric in Colorado, who gave me the opportunity to pet sit for him while he lived here in Ohio. He has 2 adorable huskies, Nix and Phoebe, and also his cute little cat named Emmy. When I've house sat for him, it's always an experience and an adventure because huskies are very sassy. If you don't pet them the right way, they get offended. I mean, it's the funniest thing ever. But don't get me wrong.
They very much have personalities like people.
Yes, they do. And both of them being girls, they're like, hey, you forgot to greet me today. Hey, excuse me, you forgot to hug me today. You didn't pet me here. You didn't give me a bed. I mean, they let you know, even down to the cat. Emmy would let me know if I didn't give her a hug today. So, like, I had to first greet Nix and Phoebe when I go into Eric's house. Then I had to make special time for Emmy the cat. So I had to pick her up, pet her, and she would love to be held like a baby. I
Oh,
said, what is this? Like, it's just like an animal, I don't know, sanctuary, animal daycare here, Eric. And, shortly after, a few years I lived out of state, and I did get my own dog. So my dog is named Mr. Fletcher. Shout out to Miss Shannon in Oklahoma who gave me him, who rehomed him to me. Mr. Fletcher is a mutt. He's a lab and collie mix, but he's a very emotionally aware dog. He's about 40 pounds. He has his own personality too.
Okay.
It's so funny because me and him, our birthdays are 10 days apart.
Oh, wow.
I got him when he was 8 months old.
Oh.
And so he's been with me. He'll be 4 this year.
Oh, wow.
So November 20th, he'll be 4. And then November 30th, I'll be 29. So, we're kind of like close in age, when it comes to dog years.
Yeah. Well, I think that zodiacs have a lot to do with our personalities and our characteristics and how we click with one another. So,
yes,
being of the same zodiac, I'm sure there's got to be some alignment that makes you that much more compatible.
Oh, it's very entertaining, to say the least. I mean, because he loves to play just like I do. So every morning when I go in, because he goes for 5 walks a day, Mr. Fletcher does.
Okay.
And the first walk is normally at 4 or 4:30 in the morning, because that's what time I get up during the week. And so, of course, when I go in there, he's excited to see me. He's like, "Mommy's coming to play." So his tail just wagging back and forth. Then he'll jump on me, put his paws up, and then we dance. We dance for about 30 seconds every morning. Kind of do like a little cha-cha-cha thing together. Oh, and he loves it. His tail's just going and going. Because he knows. He's like, Mom's come to dance. Mom's come to play. So then, we go for our first walk. He gets breakfast. So, of course, who doesn't love food, right?
Right.
So he gets his breakfast. Then, of course, he lays on the floor because he knows what's coming next. Belly rubs.
Right.
So he gets his 30 seconds of belly rubs before Mom is trying to finish getting ready for work. So he's indeed a character. And everybody in my neighborhood asked me, how did he get the name Mr. Fletcher? So his real name is Fletcher Blaze, but he's always been a little gentleman in my eyes. Because when I lived out of state, whenever I would, be in the kitchen or I'd be taking a shower, he wouldn't come in the kitchen or the bathroom when I was in there. He'd wait outside.
Oh, okay.
So he's always a little gentleman. He is, and I, for Mother's Day this year, I put a red bow tie on him.
Okay.
And I took a picture of him. So that's my phone background. And he just looks so cute. And, he's my little guy. He is.
Wow. I mean, animals, they just have a way of touching, our spirit in a way that you don't even know that you need it until they're there, and you're like, you can't even imagine your life without them.
Yeah.
During COVID, a lot of the shelters were empty because I guess people were like, if I'm going to be in, I'm going to go get a dog, because having busy lives and especially, work and social lives and things like that, I'm sure they say, oh, I want a dog, but I don't have time for a dog. But, being homebound, you know that you're not going anywhere. You don't know when you can start going someplace, that people went to get dogs. And so now there's a lot more dog owners.
And see, I'm happy to hear that a lot of people took advantage of that, because, oftentimes the shelters are overflowing.
That's
with
exactly right.
Animals that need to be rehomed and such. And so I'm happy. And then animals provide a level of comfort and relaxation. Like Mr. Fletcher, like I said, he's very emotionally aware, so he always knows when I'm starting to get depressed. He knows, because the first thing he'll do when I come into his room, he'll lick both of my wrists, because my wrists start to ache when I feel my decline in emotional, health. And so he'll lick my wrists. Then I'll sit on the floor. He'll come and sit in front of me and just first look at me, give me that look like, hey, mom, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And then, of course, he'll lick my face. Sometimes I don't want to be licked in the face.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he's a clean dog, but still just getting licked.
I know. You don't want anybody to lick you in your face. You don't even want your guy or your chick to lick you in your face. I've been married for 31 years. I don't want my husband to lick me in my face. So we're good.
But, you know, the good thing that I can say is after he licks me in the face, he'll come closer to me and he'll just let me hug him.
Yeah, yeah. He knows. They know. He knows.
And sometimes it makes me wonder, too, like, why people are cruel to animals. Like, you know, animals have a level of emotional intelligence that we can't understand.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't know how people do that. And I'm telling you, there is nothing that wrecks my spirit and angers me. There are things that anger me more than that, but I got to tell you, it's pretty horrific. I don't know how people do that.
Yeah. I mean, animals, they can't speak, you know, verbally, like, hey, you're hurting me.
Right.
Like, when I tell you,
they have a heartbeat. They have emotions. They communicate with you as best they know how to communicate. You know, it's just, do we understand? You know. So I mean, even with my little guy, he's you know, he's either hungry, he needs to go outside, or he wants water, or he wants to be cuddled. So he can't say that. So he'll just whine. And we're like, okay, that's the first tier whining. So we're trying to wait and see, like, because sometimes he'll just like whine and he wants to be cuddled, and then he'll just go to sleep. Right. So we're like, okay, let's see if it's gonna go to second tier. So by the time it gets to second tier, and then we're picking him up, like, hey dude, what do you want? What do you want? You know, hugging him up and everything. And we're like, okay, let's go downstairs. So we'll put him in front of his water bowl because he can't really see. So we put him in front of the water bowl, and we never move his water bowl. It stays in the same place all the time. We always feed him, like, he doesn't like loud sounds. So we don't feed him regular dog food. Like, I make his dog food, and he's very picky. You know, like sometimes I would have prepared some chicken with a little rice and some carrots, and he's like, nope, not having it. I'm like, okay, roast beef? Yeah, let's eat some roast beef. So I'm like, I have different things in the refrigerator ready for him, depending upon what he's in the mood to eat. And he doesn't like leftovers. He won't eat the same thing twice in a row. So I'll put a little bit, like I'll do the roast beef mixture, and then I'll put a little bit in the refrigerator, and then like the next day I'll offer up the roast beef just in case. He's like, nope, mom, don't want that. How about we do a little chicken, a little turkey today? So he'll have a little chicken or turkey, but he doesn't like the sound of bowls. So we got him a plastic bowl because his collar is metal, and it would hit the bowl and it would startle him. And so we had to take his little chain off of him, and then we put it in a plastic bowl, but he won't eat out of the bowl. Like I'll put it in my hand, he'll eat a little bit, and then I'll have to put it on the floor, and he'll eat it off of the floor. But then I got to follow him around, because when he could see, he would take a nibble of food, and then he would go somewhere else in the house, in the living room or the dining room, to eat it.
Wow.
And then he'll come back. But when he comes back, he can't find the food. So I have to stand there constantly picking him up. Okay, dude, right here, here's your food, you know. And we have to, every day there's that dance, you know.
Aww.
So, but he's so sweet. He's only a pound, so what are you gonna do?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, Mr. Fletcher, he's 40 pounds, so I can hear when he's moseying around and doing little things that he's not supposed to be doing.
Oh, yeah, and especially if they get too quiet, you know they're up to something.
Yeah, I'm like, Mr. Fletcher, I can hear you. He very rarely makes noises. He does make this little funny noise. Like, I didn't know that dogs made a sign noise. Like, really? Yeah. And one time he made that noise. I didn't know what it was. And I still laugh about it to this day because it was loud. I thought it was the radio or something. Like I heard like, I'm like, What is that?
I wonder if dogs get frustrated when they're trying to communicate something to us and we're just not getting it. You know, it's almost like when you go to a foreign country and you're trying to explain what it is that you want, and because you don't speak the same language, you can't, it's frustrating for you. And then you start Googling, right? Trying to figure out, how do I say this or how do I say that, you know? I wonder if it's the same thing with dogs. They're trying to communicate with us, but we're just not speaking that same language.
Right. So just to get the $1 million question out of the way that probably a lot of people are wondering, since we brought it up in the very beginning, tell our listeners about your experience working with tennis superstar Venus Williams.
I have to say, I mean, over the course of a year, so I've been an activewear designer for over 20 years. And, you know, I started out my career working with Adidas, which here in the US is Adidas. And, you know, they moved me to Europe. I worked in their international design office in Fontainebleau, France. And, you know, had an opportunity from there to become a consultant. So I've worked with Nike and New Balance and Asics. I was design director, creative design director for Walmart's 6 activewear divisions. And I worked with a lot of companies, and Fila is one of them. But I have to tell you, before I actually worked with Venus, I worked with Serena for a short while, and we were doing a little project together. And then I guess about a year or two later, I was introduced to Venus by someone who was in Serena's camp. And it was almost like a premonition, you know, because I remember I was in my living room one day and I saw the both of them on television, and I said to myself, one day I want to work with them. I'm gonna work with them one day. I'm gonna do something with them. And it was really a dream come true for me. Like, I've always been huge admirers of them and what they've done in the tennis world. And to be able to meet the two of them, you know, and to work so closely with Venus and creating 11 by Venus, it was the best. She was the best client I've ever had. And it certainly has been the most fun I've ever had. And you know how you have some idea, like, you know, when we see celebrities, you know, we're like, the way that we see them on television, we would hope that off television, they're nice people. And I have to tell you, she is exactly that. She is one of the nicest people I've ever met. And she is so much fun. And we just had so many laughs. And she is an incredibly genuine person, and she is exactly how you imagine her to be. And it was a joy, you know, to, you know, take her vision and to work so closely with her in building that. And we worked together for 4.5 years on her brand. And, you know, we won a couple of, you know, a few accolades, you know, with best dress on court and various things. And so that's always exciting. But it was so exciting for me to, you know, and I've gone to a number of her tennis matches, and that's always such a hoot, you know, when you're seeing your design on court that she's playing in. And, you know, especially like to watch Wimbledon or the US Open, and she's wearing something that you wore and something that you discussed. And, you know, and I remember there was one particular pattern that that she wanted to do. And I needed to get approval, because, you know, when you're developing a line, there are timelines. So I'm like, V, you know, I need you to sign off on this print. She's like, Barb, you know, I'm about to go on court. I was like, text me. I need an answer, text me. You know, and so she was always so gracious and always so incredibly kind and generous. And I have nothing but good things to say about her. I really, truly do. She's a lovely person.
And like you said, dreams do come true. And I guess, did you learn any tennis tricks while you were, you know, with Venus and Serena?
You know what's really funny? The whole time I was with her, we never hit balls together, because I would be a complete joke, right? I have been to like a number, you know, of her practices, you know, she belonged to a tennis club, and, you know, I go there in Florida, you know, when I'd be there with, you know, doing business, and, you know, I go, you know, go to the court and, you know, hang out with her, and, you know, while she's playing. And that in itself is kind of crazy. It's like, dang, am I watching like Venus Williams like play tennis right now? You know, but I mean, she's like a person just like we're a person, you know, like she and I would just, you know, we sit on her couch and we talk about life, and, you know, and she was, you know, she's a huge dog lover too. Like her dog Harry is the sweetest dog. And you know, he was so well mannered, you know, like sometimes we would go places and she'd have a bag on her shoulder, and I didn't think anything about it because people carry bags, but she's like, Barbie can't stay long because Harry's in the bag. I was like, wait, what? The dog was nothing. Like, she would open the bag, he would get out. He was just so well mannered, and when it was time to get in, she would open up the bag and he would get right in the bag. It wasn't a whole lot of conversation about it. He was very well trained. He was such a sweet dog. And it's funny because, you know, when we start talking about my dog trees, I have a little story to share about that, because, you know, we're the pet amenity for 8 Kimpton hotels. And my daughter illustrated a book of what it must be like for a dog to be able to be in a hotel, knowing there's a swimming pool, there's a spa. So I have this really cute book that she did, but Venus's dog wrote the foreword in the book. Harry.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cute. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, the dog is like, I'm being chauffeured for free.
Yeah. Look, Harry's got a good life. He's got a really good, he's living a good life. And, you know, and I mean, he's like, you know, like our dogs are like our children, very much like our children. They require you know, they never grow up and get a job, but I mean, maybe if they're an influencer dog, they might be able to bring a little money in, but you know, they never go off to college. So they're just with you like all the time. And, you know, she traveled a lot, you know, playing tennis. And so her dog was just always there with her. And, you know, it's beautiful. I mean, there's so many photo shoots that she did, you know, and her dog was in the shoot with her. You know, I think she's been Vogue or Essence. I mean, she's been, you know, she's done quite a number of, you know, magazines and covers and things like that. But, you know, her dog has always been there with her. And you know, I mean, it's just great. It's really great. It was fun. It was a fun job. Fun. I mean, I would have done it for free. I really would have.
That's phenomenal. You have to let me know where I can get a copy of that book, because that reminds me of.
I'll send it to you. Like, I didn't publish it. It's just for people who stay at the Kimpton.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I definitely want a copy of that. It reminds me of when I was a kid growing up, my favorite book was Clifford the Big Red Dog. That was my favorite book series as a kid. Yes.
Wow. Well, you know, we have an orange dog with who's our mascot, and my daughter created this orange dog. And it was funny because my daughter was in college in Hong Kong. She went to SCAD, and she was in college in Hong Kong for 2 years. And I'm like, Maddie, I'm gonna create a dog treat company. I need this orange dog. And first it was like, a dog treat company? What? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I've been baking these treats for our dogs, because every time they would eat, they're little dogs, they would eat stuff from the store and they would throw up. And I was like, I'm so tired of cleaning up puke. I'm just going to cook their dog treats. And so,
right.
And that's what I started to do. And so while I was working with Venus, I said, you know what, I'm going to create a dog treat company one day. Not really taking myself serious, you know, because you just kind of say those things. Mm-hmm. And I said, but I'm really good at follow through. And then when we had grown, you know, 11 to the point where, you know, V wanted everybody under the same roof, she's like, Barb, everybody's here in Florida and I need, you know, my design director here. And I'm like, V, I can't move to Florida. I can't. So this is where I get off the train. And I got off the train and created my dog treat company. And I have been, you know, I still work with companies doing design, because I just think, you know, I'll be forever entrenched in it. It was my first love is activewear. And, but I am having the time of my life creating this dog treat company and creating something from just an idea in my brain, you know, and So my daughter, she created this orange character called Yum Yum, and he has his own Instagram now. He's Yum Yum.
Oh,
He's Yum Yum Rockstar. Yum Yum _ Rockstar. And we just created it for him. So we got some fun stuff, and we actually created a 3D version of the dog. My husband and I, because there's a retail store in our area that had just renovated, and they had this huge front window, and they're like, we want to do something special. And I said, let me do your window. So I did, and we put, my husband and I made a 3D Yum Yum. He's like 4 feet tall. We made him out of CVS plastic bags and Elmer's glue and toilet paper. And
aw.
I'll show you a picture. He's pretty amazing. And we had him in the window, and then we created an animated short that showed in the window so people could get the connection between the dog and the dog treats. And I have pictures to share with you for that too. But yeah, it's been, this dog treat company has just been so much fun for me. And I love it so much because not only do I like creating brands, but I know what people's dogs mean to them. And just like you and I are talking about, you know, the impact that our dogs have in our life, I love the idea that I make a premium product that people love to give their dogs, and their dogs go crazy. I mean, I get so many messages and emails, and they're like, my dog won't even eat other treats. Like he will only eat this treat. Please sell it forever. Like I have reviews on Amazon. People are like, please sell this forever and ever. So it's really sweet. And you know, whenever someone places an order with us, not on Amazon, but on our website, they always get a little orange heart in their bag.
Aw.
And the heart is just, we just want to spread a little love. I mean, our brand is all about spreading love and understanding and acceptance, and, you know, just caring for one another and caring for our dogs and people that are important to us. And so I want to create a dog treat company that's built on kindness.
I hear that, because our animals are, you know, kind to us. So your company is called Lick You Silly. Is that how kind of the name came to you? Because so many people were giving you reviews like, oh my God, my dog is licking me to death. Like,
No, actually, when I first started the company, it was called Yum Yum Puppy. And so I applied for my trademark, and they said, sorry, because we used to have supplements too. And the USPTO says, hey, sorry, you can't have that trademark because there's already a company called Yum Yum Yum, and they sell supplements, and it's too close. Because when you do a trademark, you can't confuse the consumer. And so I got permission to, you know, sell through that product. And I was just, you know, like, I need a new name. And I wanted to create something that when people heard it, it would make them happy. It would make them chuckle. And I'm like, you know, what do dogs do? They eat, they sleep, they go for walks, they play, and they want to lick you. I'm like, and when a dog licks you, you inevitably start laughing. So then I said, lick you silly. Lick you silly. I kept throwing it around in my brain, and, you know, I said it to my husband. He was like, okay. And then I just started sharing it with my friends. I'm like, what do you guys think of this name? What do you think of this? And then I just said, that's what it's going to be, because I just never came up with anything else. And now I love it. And I got the trademark, no problem, because there's no other company called Lick You Silly. And whenever I say that to people, they're like, oh my God, I love that name. So that's our treats.
yeah, I mean, you know, no pun intended, it's the Pawfect name for, you know, what you're doing. I mean, you have something for four-legged friends.
Yes.
You know, so it has to stand out. It can't just be Dog Treats R Us. You know, it has to have something that's catchy. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. I said, this is so catchy. I can remember that. Yes. And it stands out. Lick You Silly. It's so simple, but it's so funny because we've all had that experience, like you said. Funny story, and my mom's going to kill me for saying this. But one time a few months ago, when we still kind of had the cold, nasty weather, my mom was walking my dog for me while I was at work. And I guess there was black ice outside when she was coming through the alley. So she kind of slipped on it, but she was okay. Like, she didn't hit her head or anything on the ground, but she just, kind of slipped.
Yeah.
Mr. Fletcher ran over to my mom and licked her face. My mom does not like anything touching her face.
Oh, wow.
She told me the story. She said that when Fletcher licked her face, she's like, "Get away from me, get away." And I could just see her face being so disgusted.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure she probably laughed afterwards. Because he went and licked her face to make sure, like, "Hey, grandma, are you okay?" Like,
that's his way of finding out if she's okay. So, I mean, can you imagine if he had just stood there, just like looking over her, like, "Okay, grandma, get up,"
Absolutely.
Mr. Fletcher is quite the gentleman. I've never met him, but I can already tell.
Yes, he is indeed a gentleman. He's a character in himself. So, speaking of treats, I'm glad that we're actually talking about this because Mr. Fletcher hates dog treats. He doesn't like.
Oh, Mr. Fletcher, I'm gonna change that for you. I'm gonna
because
some treats. You'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't eat. He's never eat. Well, he'll eat my treats."
Yeah, definitely. I want to, because whenever we've tried to give him treats, he's a very, I call, bougie, upscale dog.
Well, that's why my treats are perfect for him.
Probably.
Because my treats they're not like, okay, so I am introducing 5 new treats next month. And I have to tell you the names because it's so cute. But my dog treats are freeze-dried beef liver and chicken liver. It's like a slab of meat. So if you take that little piece of meat and you put it in a little water, it'll turn into a pliable piece of meat. So he would very much like our treats. I assure you, he would like our treats. And liver has a lot of flavor, which is why I wanted the liver as opposed to, just a piece of steak or, prime rib or sirloin or chicken breast. I wanted the liver because it's so flavorful and dogs really love that.
Funny story. Mr. Fletcher, whenever people try to give him little treats, like, when you go to the pet store and you pick up, dog food and all that.
Yeah.
Well, they like to give you dog treats. And I tell them up front, he doesn't like treats. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, I can make him eat it." Like, I'm trying to tell you, he doesn't like treats.
Yeah.
So they gave him the little dog bone looking treat. Fletcher, they sat it. So he put it in his mouth and he spit it out and kicked it. And I said, "I tried to tell you he doesn't like treats." Like, what part? I'm his owner. I'm his mother. Right. What part did you not hear?
Right. Wow, he kicked it. Wow.
Yeah, he kicked it and he sits up like this with his head held high like, she was right. I told you. So Barbara, kind of like, tell me, how did you figure out how to make these treats where your dog would eat them? Like, I know you said you use like the dried meats, but like, is there any other ingredient that, the dog is like, "Ooh, I have to have this"?
No, it's just a piece of freeze-dried beef liver and chicken liver. And we work with a company that sells the larger parts of the meat to better grocery stores like a King's or a Whole Foods. So, we know that I said, like, I don't eat meat. I mean, I eat chicken, but I don't eat red meat. But we know that there's a difference between a steak that might come from like your chopping stock or your food town versus a piece of steak that you might get from a Whole Foods or specialty butcher. So my dog treats come from more of an upscale, a premium, more supplier. So I work with a supplier now. I don't dry it myself. I work with a supplier that dries it for me, and then we repackage it.
Oh wow! So when you first started out, how did you think of the idea to use the meat and not like traditional stuff?
Um, I did, well, when I first decided I wanted to start a dog treat company, I mean, being an actor where I know nothing about dog treats except giving a dog a treat, right? So there was a little bit of a learning curve. And so I did a lot of research, you know, attended a trade show, and it was really just learning. And then because I realized it wasn't sustainable for me to make the treats for my dogs, I'm like, if I want to build this into a brand, you know, that is in major, you know, becomes a major national brand, I have to figure out, like, how do I sustain that, right? How do I sustain it? How do I create it? How do I scale it? And, you know, so, I mean, I really did put on the hat that I wear when I'm creating lines for people, you know, clothing, apparel lines for people. And, you know, a lot of that knowledge and experience came into play, you know, when creating this brand. But, you know, when I realized it wasn't something that I didn't want to, you know, be bogged down with trying to make dog treats, because, you know, with any startup, it takes time to ramp up. So I needed something that would be easy for people to understand, because when you make a dog treat, you also have to explain, okay, so what kind of ingredients are in them? You have to be in special commercial kitchens. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. And so I just started doing the research, and I said, I want a single ingredient dog treat. And in my research, I found out that it was, you know, freeze-dried meats. And I said, all right, well, people understand beef and chicken. Let me just start there, you know? So, and then I just started, you know, talking to companies, and found a company that, you know, agreed with what I'm trying to do with my business. And they said, you know, hey, we want to work with you. And so they did. And that really is just how it started. You know, I tested the market a little bit before I started. You know, I went to, you know, a couple of parks around New York City and gave away my dog treats, and, you know, people liked it. And so then I said, all right, well, next step is just, how do I want to sell it? Well, we already know, I mean, even 4 years, I started this is now going into our 4th year. But, you know, people shop, you know, online. I'm like, I want to be online. And so I said, let me go to the biggest retailer I know, and that's Amazon. So I took a course in how to sell, you know, product on Amazon, and got that all set up, started selling on Amazon. And I'm still learning about Amazon and ad sales, and that in itself is a whole nother conversation around, you know, selling on Amazon, and then having, you know, because it's all keywords. And, you know, the dog treat area of Amazon is one of their biggest area. So there's a lot of competition. And so I run, you know, 4 or 5 ads at any given time. And I have someone who manages, you know, my ads for me. I run a lot of ads on Facebook and Instagram. You know, much of my traffic for my brand, for the product, comes from social media, because we don't, I mean, we know as the dog owners, we know what a piece of beef tastes like. We tasted liver, you know, so we understand that. But how do I get, so when I am marketing to my customer is ultimately the dog, but I have to market to the owners first, because it's not like dogs can say, you know, hey, let me go on Amazon and order some dog treats, right? So I have to speak to, I have to speak to the psyche of that consumer. And it's all about, you know, creating a product that is a human grade product. Like, we have no preservatives, no GMOs, no additives, no glutens, no grains. It is simply a piece of meat. And you know, and when people try it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. My dog loves it. I mean, look, I'll be honest, we're not the cheapest one on Amazon. We're not the most expensive one, but like I said, we're a premium product, and the meat is expensive for us. And of course, you know, Jeff Bezos, for every bag that we sell, Jeff Bezos has his hand in there, you know, so, and he gets a pretty large portion, like 30% off of every bag that we sell. You know, 25, 30, he gets a huge, that's why Jeff Bezos will be the first trillionaire. So anyway, and there are I'd probably say, you know, if not, is it probably close to 1 billion products on Amazon, and he gets a piece of everything that's sold on Amazon, everything, even the ad sales. So anyhow, so yeah, I mean, that's how I started this business, and I love it. And we have a lot of repeat business. You know, I have customers who come to me and they'll spend $100 a month on dog treats, which
Wow.
I love. You know, I love all my customers, but particularly fond of those.
Right. Your loyal fans.
They are loyal. And I'm like, wow, it just tickles me when people's dogs like love the product. It just tickles me, you know, and they keep coming back, and I'm happy. I'm grateful for that.
Well, that means you're doing something right. I mean, they wouldn't come back if they didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
So, kind of during this period of COVID, did you see a surge of business, or did yours kind of
No,
level out?
I
No.
saw a huge surge in business because dog treats were an essential product during COVID. And I wasn't expecting that. And it just so happens in early March, I got a big delivery. I got like 200 pounds of dog treats delivered. And in mid-March, things started looking a little crazy. And all of a sudden stuff closed down. And then all of a sudden we're an essential product. And Portia, we were ready. We were ready, not knowing that I was ready, but we were ready. And we were able to, we sold a lot of product during that time. And, you know, because of that, you know, sales continue to stay steady. There was an article that came out in Black Enterprise, probably early April, that the timing was perfect. So that kind of gave us another, that built a different kind of awareness, with the focus and emphasis being on, you know, Black-owned businesses. And there's not many Black-owned businesses in the pet sector.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to treats. You know, there's some, you know, dog groomers, and, you know, certainly there's veterinarians and things like that. But it was really nice, and it was helpful to have a light shone on, you know, people of color who are in this industry.
Well, absolutely. I agree. Yours came at the right time. I mean,
Could have been more perfect. Like I wasn't even, I was blown away. We were ready. And I was like, wow, God, thank you. Answer prayer. We were ready. So now we're about to launch 5 new products because, you know, our 8-ounce bag, we sell that it's $29. You know, it's a $30 bag of dog treats. And we sell a lot of those dog treats, but I wanted to be able to have other products that might be at a slightly lower price point. So we're introducing, so I came up with these funny names. So we have a dog treat now, which is our pumpkin and chicken, and it's called a lickadoodle, right?
like a snickerdoodle.
So, right. And of course, with, you know, lick you silly, right? So I'm always just trying to come up with funny names for dog treats. So we have our lickadoodles, which we sell a lot of those. And so I'm introducing a happy doodle, which is going to be, it's bacon and cheddar. I love bacon. Bacon doesn't love me, but I love bacon. So that's a happy doodle. I call bacon the devil's chewing gum.
Well, yeah, because you know,
it's not good. It's not good for those arteries, right? So then I have a chew-a-doodle. Like I found a company that's working with me, and we developed a pumpkin dog chew. So you know how when you give your dog, I don't know if your dog, you know, does the chews, but it's typically like it's a part, like a trachea or it's an ear, and it just smells funky. Because when my lab used to eat those, I was like, "Ooh, dude, that's really stinky." But we have now a chew-a-doodle, and it's made out of pumpkin, and it smells like cinnamon. So so I'm really psyched about that. And then we have what else are we doing? There we got our happy doodles. We have our nutter doodles. It's peanut butter and honey.
Oh man.
And then we have we've always had our boost, and our boost is where we take a part of our we take some of our dog treats that's left over at the end that's, you know, you can't do anything with it, and we grind it up and we repackage it and we call it a boost. And it's great for dogs that are picky eaters, right? We sell a lot of that. And I always say it's the equivalent of putting M&Ms on spinach, you know, because you can get your kids to eat some spinach if we got some M&Ms on it, right? So the boost is the same way. And so yeah, we sell a lot of that, and so now we have larger containers because people are like, can we get this in a bigger container? Because right now I think it's like 0.3 ounces. It's small. So so now I have larger containers, so now people can get a bigger boost.
No pun intended.
Right.
More licks.
Yes, yes.
Wow, I mean, just creative names. And then I was gonna say about the pumpkin ones, you'll probably get a surge in October because you figure Halloween,
October, right?
Yeah, what kind of product are you gonna have for, you know, around Halloween time?
So what I'm thinking
Spookadoodle?
about, you know what, I'm thinking about, I won't release them all at the same time. Like I have a couple of retailers that I'm talking to right now. So I won't release them all at the same time because for the Christmas holidays, I want to take them all and I want to package them in a box. And you know, for Christmas, we have huge sales. Our sales really pick up for Christmas. And now with people adopting so many dogs during COVID, when the Christmas holidays come, they're probably going to be buying a lot of treats for their dog to have under the tree. So I want to package all of my treats in a box, and it's going to be like a special holiday box. And they can get the full assortment.
I mean, here's an idea for Halloween. You can call one of your treats the Imposter Doodle. You know, have your dog give him an alter ego.
Yeah, I have so I'm working with a company now, and they're printing all my bags, and I have to print, you know, I have to print all of my bags at one time because it's 7,000 bags, right? And so I hadn't really, I might just wait for the pumpkin, introduce the pumpkin in October, because I think that would be fun. You can do a lot of fun things around there. But yeah, I'm excited about these. I'm really psyched about these.
Who are you telling? I'm excited to, you know, definitely see how Mr. Fletcher reacts when, you know, I purchase some from you.
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Miss Barbara Clarke Ruiz, for joining me remotely to talk about your dog treats. And, you know, I'm sure that some of our listeners would possibly be interested in, you know, looking at your product. What's the website where they can go and look at it, Barbara?
So our website is called LickYouSillyPetProducts.com. And you can like us and follow us on Instagram under Lick You Silly Yum Yum, YUM. And you can follow our mascot, Yum Yum Rockstar. And what am I leaving? And we're also on Facebook under Lick You Silly. We're also on Pinterest. I know Lick You Silly, and Twitter, Lick You Silly.
All right, everybody. So Lick You Silly. Don't forget. Look it up, especially
and
if you
YouTube.
want.
We've got some great. You gotta come to see our. You've got to watch our. Have you seen our YouTube channel?
I saw your commercial on your website.
Okay, so on our YouTube channel, we have animated shorts.
Oh wow!
Using our little orange dog. So they're really funny because it's all about what Yum Yum would do for a Lick You Silly treat. And it's some of the stuff that he does is so funny. So my goal is that I want to create a series. I want to create a series with Yum Yum, and I want to create a video game.
Oh yeah, like let me see. What was one game that had
like Angry Birds?
Angry Birds, or like
we're going to be posting dogs, but
Crash Bandicoot was a animal, but he wasn't a dog. I think he was like a fox or something. Crash Bandicoot, Donkey Kong. I mean,
yeah,
you know, video games that are fronted by animals.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to come up.
Spyro. Oh yeah, Spyro the dragon. Yeah, can't forget about
Hmm.
Spyro. So yeah, I mean that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Like I could see more of a Super Mario kind of game, like
Uh-huh.
the dog treats or the coins. The more you collect, you can buy little upgrades. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep. So I haven't quite picked out the concept. I haven't figured out the concept of it yet, but Yum Yum he's such an aloof dog, and he's so curious, and almost like Scooby-Doo, where, remember with Scooby and the Scooby snacks. So, Yum Yum, he will just about do anything for his treats. And so I just think it's a lot of fun we could do there. And Yum Yum also has a girlfriend. Her name is Lola.
oh,
Yeah, and there's actually a video. I worked with a designer who did a animated short in a 3D version animated short. Like the other shorts are just 2D, but yeah, for Valentine's Day we did another window, and we had a video made with his girlfriend Lola. She's so
aw,
cute because she's a yellow version of him, and she's got a little flower in her hair. She's adorable.
aw. It's like now Yum Yum doesn't have to go down the journey to find snacks alone.
Yeah, well, that's how, he shows his love. I'm not going to give it away. Just look at the video.
No,
It's
don't give it
cute.
away. I want to see. I want to see.
And I'm not going to give it away.
So, Barbara, what treats do your dog like the most out of the
Oh,
ones that you?
okay. So my dog is a pound. He's got a really little mouth. And he tends to like the chicken because the chicken's a little smaller and it's a lot more crumbly, right? So he actually likes the chicken or the beef. I mean, whatever, he would eat any of them because you can crumble both of them up. But our big seller is the beef, just because it's bigger pieces. But now, after a few years, I realized that we can cut that beef liver a different way, and it won't crumble as much, and you'll get some bigger pieces. So we have that coming down the pike. Um, that'll be we're going to be introducing that probably early next month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, beef's a big favorite. Dogs love the beef. They love the chicken too, but again, it's smaller. But when we get the bigger chicken, I'm curious to see what they'll love then, because they're both going to be,
Phenomenal.
guys, and just as delicious.
Well, Barbara, thank you again for coming on. We're going to be running out of time here shortly. But what advice can you leave with our listeners today, whether it's, going for your dreams and knowing that they will come true as long as you're consistent, or even just, taking an idea like you did with dog treats and running with it?
I think my advice would be, like, everybody has a dream they've been talking about. Like when I said, one day I want to start a dog treat company, I didn't have a clue. So, figure out what that thing is that you want to start, and start it. Just start it. And every day you move the needle on it. Like every day. No, I mean, this is what I do. This is my full time right now. But when I did have a client that I'm working with, every day I move the needle, even if it's the smallest thing, even if there's an email you need to send, or even if it's like you need to dedicate an hour or every day, or hour or two every day. I mean, the weekends you can just let yourself breathe, but you can get up early on a Saturday morning and you could do a little something, but move the needle every day, and just know that at some point by doing that, you're going to bring something to fruition that started with just a tiny seed. And don't take no for an answer, and look for creative ways in finding a new approach to whatever that business that you want. Like consumers, we don't always know what we want until we see it, right? So create something that that you can put a little twist on, and you can make it yours. So, I mean, think about like Howard Schultz. I mean, he's like Mr. Starbucks, right? Think about how long coffee was around before we became addicted to Starbucks. I mean, if somebody has said to you, hey, I want to start a coffee company, you'd be like, well, we already got a lot of those. Well, what can you do that's different? And he made coffee a lifestyle. So figure out how you can incorporate that into something that's really important to people. And I know people love dogs, so.